we knew it was coming, and now it's finally a thing, the pain of not having access to the underlying code in our Bubble apps. Yeah, that day is here. And I'm thinking, am I really going to have to vibe code from screenshots? A bit of background, I'm an ex-front-end developer who got lazy, and I've relied on Bubble since 2016 when Bubble popped up in my search results. And I quickly became a Bubble freelancer. I worked as a Bubble freelancer for a few years, but these days I run only one Bubble app for myself. I think Bubble is amazing still for very complex apps, especially when combined with a scalable external database like Supabase. I believe still that it's really the only option for non-techies at the moment, even right now. But I would give it a 6 out of 10 for 3 reasons. Number one, it's just not as much fun to use anymore. I really have lost the joy of using Bubble. Number two, it's crazy ass expensive, and I mean really expensive. $51 a month Australian just for the basic plan, and it jumps up to $210 a month after that. So you really have to be a successful startup to make it worth it. And number three, who knows how the hell workflow units work? I still don't. I've read the docs. I feel like it's woo you. Otherwise, it is amazing. Still use it for complex apps if you have the money and the app structure justifies it. But how many of us did something really stupid? You built just a little personal project on Bubble, nothing special. In fact, it was basically just a website. It could have been a banger static HTML site, but you knew it was easy on Bubble. Then you kept adding to it, and then it's suddenly not small anymore, and you know it should really have been hand-coded all along, especially if you are a front-end developer. Then you might have done the same with a little e-commerce site, and you're an idiot, and it's no one's fault but your own. And now amongst the complex apps that should live on Bubble, you have these passion projects that are sitting on the free plan. They're not doing anything, and they are static or very basic dynamic sites, and should never have been built on Bubble in the first place. And I guess it's just the thought of all that work to rebuild it in code that has just made us leave these passion projects there on the free plan. But then came along vibe coding. And by the way, if you're tossing up between template builders like Square or WordPress to migrate these simple sites, because they are just cheaper than Bubble, or choosing vibe coding, then do choose vibe coding, because template builders are always extremely restrictive. It doesn't matter who serves them up, and they are costly. And if you can code and want to leave Bubble behind, then clearly vibe coding is going to be the smart way to go. So I'm trying initially to find the cheapest, most accurate way to vibe code a really simple Bubble app. And that cheapest way is with ChatGPT Plus at $31 a month Australian. First I'll try GPT, and then I'll try Manus, which is much more expensive at $61 a month. But of course, instead of paying $51 every month to Bubble, I could pay Manus or GPT just once to create the site once. And if money is tight at any point, I can just stop Manus or GPT vibe coding and not have the bloody website go down. And then the plan is that I'll host somewhere great. I use Hostinger, who have an amazing user interface. I really like their dashboard. And cost-wise, each website I have on there, is only $1 Australian a month. That's right, it's like $1 Australian a month. Crazy. So the site I'm recreating is going to be farmerphil.com.au. It's a super static site. In fact, I'm not even going to use a database. I know, it should never have been on Bubble. I'm an idiot. And funnily enough, the only reason I started paying for ChatGPT Plus is so that I could use their project folders, which are super handy. And this feature is not even listed in their table of benefits. They obviously just don't think it's cool enough or important enough. But duh, I didn't know that there are much more important reasons, as you can see in this table. So initially I tried dumping an entire screenshot of the front end of the home page into ChatGPT and then asking it to create an HTML file and then asking for changes to that file. After all, this is what we hear from GPT.
And just like that, you can see the changes reflected in my IDE with the return URL being updated to snake case. Let's save the code and give that another try. Great, problem solved. So previously I would have had to copy and paste my error, perhaps look up the API docs, but now I can share my code directly with ChatGPT and ask it to update it as well.
Super geek, right? So of course GPT is going to be able to create and edit a humble, simple, basic HTML file, right? Wrong. I quickly discovered that if I asked for changes to the footer, it would just randomly remove a menu item, hamburger SVG, or some other random thing from somewhere else in the file. And of course, I should have been using PHP includes or JS fetch anyway to fetch common HTML. So I have to separate the website into separate HTML files anyway. So it made sense to vibe code it one HTML file at a time. So first of all, I started off just dumping in a simple front-end screenshot like this and asking it to recreate it, but that resulted in abominations like this, where in the footer it's put space, 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 no span, no structured HTML, no ULLI. I think we can agree that my prompt should have been 1000% better to avoid this, but given videos like this.
So I'm just gonna paste this thing into that and just save it out. And on the browser, I'll just try to open this up. And you can see that when I hover over this thing, it shows the arrows, and then quick and brown and so on. And when I hover out of it, it goes away. So that's a correctly rendered version of it. And when I click on it, it shows the attention scores as just as I asked for.
I expected GPT to give me more than plain old HTML with shitty space, space, space. So then I decided to take a screenshot of the editor and what it should create in the CSS, and largely it was fine, except that it was really poor code. So in this example, I asked it to recreate a section on the homepage using the CSS values you can see there. The font is Poppins, etc. But the code, it states the color 3 times, which of course is really inefficient and really badly coded. So I'm really losing heart at this point. If it can't even do clean CSS, then imagine what the hardcore programmers are really going through. However, I persevered, and now I'm in a bit of a system. So I'm better at prompting, and GPT is better at knowing what I want. And the coolest thing I've managed so far is giving GPT a common HTML file, which in this case is an image gallery of plants, and asking it to replace all the plants with a new list of plants. Now that's an incredible time saver. It sounds simple, but it is just a huge time saver. So I can see that I'm now going to be able to quickly create this site in record time. So what I'm doing now is giving GPT my front end screenshot and my existing entire CSS file and asking for 2 things: the HTML file for the screenshot and a new CSS file for the HTML based on the entire CSS attached. And occasionally there is some JavaScript, like for an add to basket feature as well. The reason I don't give GPT full access to my files or get it to edit files I've uploaded is that I don't trust it yet, and there's just too many mistakes to correct. It's easier if it creates brand new files and then I manually run my eye over them. I have access to Manus now as well, so I will try Manus in my next video, but having looked at other people's efforts with Manus, I want to make sure I absolutely nail the prompt. And by the way, I've downloaded MAMP to run a local server on my computer, and it is so strange doing all this again, just like 30 years ago. 30 years ago I was doing this. It's very strange. And basically you just dump the standard file structure as per normal into the htdocs folder on your local server. And the reason I run MAMP is so that I can view the entire website, including the HTML includes, in my browser before uploading to Hostinger. And I just want to say, guys, I'm loving getting back to coding again. Like, I'm absolutely loving it. The speed with which you can vibe code, even the cheap, slow way like I'm doing it, it's amazing. It's mind-blowing how fast and easy it is. And now I feel like I'm in a position to just crank out quality site after quality site without relying on expensive platforms. And I cannot believe I ever dumped full code to begin with. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what I was thinking. crazy. I think vibe coding is a great replacement for all platforms that generate websites, including WordPress. I know a lot of you are paying for WordPress plugins, and many of them are on the simple side that you can just reproduce by vibe coding. And as I said, there is a place for bubble apps, but make sure you're using the platform for the complex apps it's designed for and not the super simple apps or websites that you know can be vibe coded, and they should always have been coded. So if you'd like to track how I go with my vibe coding, you can subscribe, obviously. Drop me a comment. It would be great. I especially like to hear from other 55-year-old female geeks, because I know you're out there, especially if you've worked as a front-end dev before or as a hobbyist. I'd love to hear from you. Get in touch, and bye for now. Hey, rabbit. Yay! Cool. Yeah. Oh. Oh, hello. Hello. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, my girl. Yeah. It's exciting. Oh. What's up? What's up? Okay.